Welcome students. Today we shall discuss about political science second chapter, that is what is democracy, why democracy. Class 9, presented by Chidanand Patil. Students, in the previous chapter of democracy we have seen about the two tails of democracy. In that we have taken the two examples of Chile and Poland. Chile is a country in South America. We shall see the example of Chile, where Salvador Allende was ruling there. In the democratic government, we shall see about Chile before the Pinochet's rule and after the Pinochet's rule. Before the Pinochet's rule, we have Allende's rule in Chile. He gave a very good democratic administration with a very good democratic principles, where people have elected him as their leader, and the leader's duty and responsibility is that to look after the welfare of the people. So he has taken certain reforms which will be benefiting the people. But moving on to the Pinochet's rule, he is a military leader who has overthrown the rule of Allende government, and then he became the dictator of Chile. Later, when the referendum was conducted, he was overthrown and we got a democratic government replacing him. In the similar manner, we will see the example of Poland also. In Poland, we have communist rule, that is Poland's Workers' Party rule, which is run on the sidelines of the Communist Party with the support of USSR. But after Latvia turned out in turned out into the elections as a victorious, the democratic government has been replaced the party's rule in Poland once again. In the similar way, we shall see one more example about Encro. Similarly, the Nkrumah's rule in Ghana was also a democratic setup, while he was being overthrown by the military coup there. Therefore, here we come to know that democracy is very clear to define that in democracy the rulers are elected by the people. This is one of the most fundamental of democracy. So by seeing all these examples, what do we come to know? We come to know that when the rulers are not elected by the people, they will not serve the interest of the people. Therefore, when the people have to be served properly, keeping in mind the interest of the people, their leaders have to be elected by the people. Then only they can serve the needs of the people properly. Similarly, students, we can take the example of Saudi Arabia also. As you all know that Saudi Arabia is one of the filthiest and richest country with the petroleum reserves in the world, in the West Asian region. Though the people are having freedom here, the king of Saudi Arabia was not elected by the people. There are so many restrictions in the social life of the people of Saudi Arabia. Even today, women are not allowed to wander freely over there. Similarly, one more example is about Pakistan. A similar case with the Pakistan also. When Pakistan was under the military rule of General Pervez Musharraf, he did not allow the people to have free elections. He did not allow the people He did not allow the people to the freedom of press also. All these things make us very clear that in the beginning of democracy, that the leaders have to be elected by the people. Then only they will have full power to serve the people. Then only the purpose of democracy will be served. In the next slide, we shall discuss about the features of democracy. Students, these are the features of democracy. In the features of democracy, we have to keep in mind about the four important words. They are rulers, election, people, and government. Who are rulers? Rulers are the officials who are elected by the people to rule and govern them. When we talk about the rulers, we should keep in mind that whether the rulers are really capable of ruling, and they are and the rulers should rule within the prescribed guidelines of the constitution. The rulers cannot do whatever he or she wants. The ruler has to follow certain framework prescribed under the constitution. Students, in this slide we shall see the example of Pakistan. When we discuss about the Pakistan issue, here in the year 1999, under General Pervez Musharraf, has revolted and made a military coup in October 1999. This military coup took over the power and removed Nawaz Sharif from power by force, and he declared himself the chief executive head of the country. Later, he changed his designation as president, and he proclaimed himself as a president. So, when he became the president, what did he do? He wanted to create a legitimacy among the people. What do you mean by legitimacy? He wanted to create value amongst the people. Therefore, he conducted one referendum in the year 2002. We shall see what does referendum means. Referendum means a general vote by the electorate on a single political question which has been referred to them for a direct decision. In simple terms, we can say that referendum is a process of voting on an issue whereby you are asking voters in favor of yes or no. After conducting referendum in the country that granted him 5 years extension in his rule on the basis of a referendum, he extended his rule for 5 years. But the Pakistani media and the rights activists, or you can call as the human rights organizations, started to protest against this referendum conduct by General Pervez Musharraf. These activists said that this referendum, which was conducted by him, was unjust and unfair and was based on malpractice and fraud. By the means of malpractice and fraud, he had gained the power. So here we can see that Pervez Musharraf is not elected by the people. That means he is a non-elected leader, and he is entering into a democratic system by force. Again, in August 2002, he issued a legal framework order. He issued a legal framework order that amended the constitution of Pakistan. Here he amended means he brought some changes in the constitution of Pakistan. After amending the constitution, he took power under him. According to this power, the president can dismiss the national and provincial assemblies of Pakistan. Provincial assemblies means all small states in the Pakistan. Therefore, later he established a National Security Council which is dominated by the military officers, and this National Security Council would supervise the civilian cabinets. The civilian cabinet's powers are encroached through National Security Council, which was formed by General Pervez Musharraf. This National Security Council was comprised of military officers. It comprises of what? Military officers. So from this we come to know that military is slowly having its control over the democracy by force. By this final power or the supreme power rests with the military officers and the General Parvez Musharraf himself, which is against the democracy. That means what? Even the people are against him. They he have come to the power by force. Here none of them are elected by the people. This happens in many dictatorships and monarchies. So you should keep in mind this is one of the first important feature of democracy, that is, in a democracy the final decision making power must rest with those elected by the people. But by seeing all these examples, the first feature of the democracy is not successful here, because all these leaders, they are non democratic leaders. They are not directly elected by the people. This is one of the first feature of democracy. Students, this is one of the second important feature of democracy, that is free and fair electoral competition. A democracy must be based on a free and fair election where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. About this we shall discuss later. Now we shall discuss about two examples, that is China and Mexico. Here in this context we shall discuss about China first. So in China, elections are held regularly for every 5 years, and electing the a country's parliament, and they have a party called as National People's Congress. Here elections are conducted, but they do not have much options. They do not have much options. Why? Because before contesting the elections, a candidate needs to get the approval of the Chinese Communist Party, because here in China, the Chinese Communist Party is very strong, and most of the powers vests in the hands of Communist Party. Then only you will be allowed to go to the parliament. If he wants to go to the parliament, then he has to mold himself according to the Communist Party. Here we come to know that there are no free and fair elections conducted when we have limited choice, and there is only one party system here in China. So such country, what shall we call it as? We cannot call it as a democratic country. Therefore we can call it as an undemocratic country. So from this conclusion we come to know that China is going to conduct elections, but they are not free and fair. and the Chinese people have very limited choice, and there is only one party system here. Students, now we shall discuss about Mexico. Since its independence in 1930, Mexico holds elections after every 6 years to elect its president. In Mexico, there is a party called as PRI, that is Institutional Revolutionary Party. This PRI party used to win all the elections continuously by playing dirty tricks to win in the elections. What kind of dirty tricks this party used to play? That is, example, I will tell you example. All those who were employed in the government offices had to attend its party meetings, and the teachers of the government schools used to force the parents to vote for the PRI party only, and they used to suggest all these government school teachers to vote for them. And they also had a control over the media. They had a very strong control over media. Even they played dirty pranks like by shifting the polling booths from one place to another in the last minute, which made it very difficult for the people to cast their vote. In such a manner, the PRI party used to win the elections continuously, one after the other. In the PRI party, even used to spend a large sum of money in the campaign for its candidates. So, by seeing these two examples, what do we come to know, students? We come to know that there are many problems in both these examples also. In China, we have seen that the elections are conducted, but it does not offer its people any serious choice. They have to choose the ruling party, and the candidates will be approved by themselves. Therefore, we can tell that in China, there is a party by choice. And at the same time, when we see the example of Mexico, here also people seemed to really have a choice, but in practice, they do not have any choice. If the people were against the party, and there was if the people were against the party also, there was no way for the people to go against the ruling party, and there was a no way that the ruling party could be defeated also. So what can we conclude from these both examples? We shall see in the last point, the second important feature of democracy, that is, a democracy must be based on free and fair elections. By seeing both these examples, can you tell me whether this feature is applicable for these two countries? Free and fair elections means what? The elections should be transparent, and the elections should be in front of the people, and the people should elect his representative and bring him to the power. But we have not seen such kind of process in these two examples. Where in the above two examples of China and Mexico, we can't see any kind of such things. The second line, where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. I repeat once again, where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. Means what? That means at present, whichever party is in power, there is a chance of losing their power the next time. For example, we shall take the example of our India only. In India, till 2014, we had Congress party rule, but next After 2014, we have seen that the party was changed. The another newly party, that is the BJP party, came into the power after 2014. Again in the year 2019, we have seen that again BJP party one it was re-elected one more time. Now at present it is in power. It doesn't mean that BJP party will continue winning like this only. It is unpredictable because in our country we have free and fair elections. Even though any party, whichever party is in power, the current party should have a fair chance of losing. That is only possible in a democratic country only. This is one of the second important feature of democracy.